at our new airtime of 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, that's Thursday nights, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on WNLMradio.com, as well as the TuneIn app, or 24/7 on demand beginning every Wednesday night on the Spreaker app, SoundCloud, and YouTube. Follow the show on Twitter at BDST Show. Like me and friend me on Facebook. Search Scotty-Ball. All right, so huge balls on fire. Sorry I was so on fire about it, so heated up. I could go more on it, but I won't. Or at least for now. Who knows? But anyway, we have so much more sports to discuss, and there's never enough time. So do we go? Let's see. Could go football next. College football, basketball, college basketball, hockey, Major League Baseball, high school football, NASCAR, WWE. That's all the topics we got left yet. Holy crap. Maybe we squeeze in a quickie or two. I don't know. Okay, I got some ideas here. All right, let's get a semi-quickie in here with high school football. That's right. Let's give a shout out, to the results and teams and players that were in this past weekend's 2015 Prep Bowl here in Minnesota. So in our 9-man championship game, which was on Friday, we had Grand Meadow defeat Underwood by a score of 34-20. All right, then in the Class 1A championship, we had Minneota over Minneapolis North Community High School 35-18. Moving on to the 2A championship, we had Caledonia in a rout 40-0 over Pipestone area. Then in the Class 3A championship, we had Piers capping off an undefeated season, 36-8, winning over Jackson County Central. And then in the Class 4A championship, which unfortunately did not feature my Rocori Spartans, they lost in the semifinals to South St. Paul by a score of 19-14. So then South St. Paul in the championship game lost to Becker by a score of 35-14. Becker once again wins another football championship. On to the 5A championships. Let's see, 5A championship was on Saturday. We had St. Michael Albertville. That's not too far from me either. Win 28-21 over St. Thomas Academy. So congrats to St. Michael Albertville. And then in the 6A championship, Friday night, we had Osseo in a nail-biter, winning it over Eastridge 14-13. Wow. So, there's all your Prep Bowl winners here in Minnesota. Congratulations again to all the participants, win or lose. Yeah. All right. Well, boy, we got 2 things crossed off of the giant list here now. Hooray for us. Let's see, what else could we get to here? Let's go from high school football, a kind of high school football quickie, to Major League Baseball, since that's what I was watching a majority of my evening here, at least before I started doing the show. I was watching on Major League Baseball Network the Baseball Writers Association's award presentation, as I mentioned earlier in the show. It is a 4-day process where they give out a National League and an American League award to someone each day over the course of 4 days. I believe the first awards that were given out was the Manager of the Year awards. It might have been the Rookie of the Years, but I think it was the Manager of the Year awards. But so, your AL Manager of the Year was the Texas Rangers manager, Bannister is his last name. And your NL Manager of the Year was none other than Joe Madden of the Chicago Cubs. No big surprise there. Then, for Rookie of the Years, we had Correa, the shortstop for the Houston Astros. No shocker, they're winning in the American League. Miguel Sano of your Minnesota Twins finished third, by the way. He made the top 3 final voting. He did finish in third place, as well as Paul Molitor, he made the final three for AL Manager of the Year, and he got third as well. So, some runner-up props to our Minnesota players in those two. But then moving to the National League, the Rookie of the Year, no surprise, we were talking about him before he even played his first game this season, was Chicago Cubs third baseman Kris Bryant. So, we got 2 winners there for the Cubs already. And then tonight was revealed the Cy Young Award winners, which I was very excited for. It was a fairly, debatable close race, I thought, on both sides. You could make the argument for at least 1 or 2, if not all 3 candidates. So over on the American League, we had Sonny Gray of the Oakland A's, David Price of the Detroit Tigers and Toronto Blue Jays, and Dallas Keuchel. I wish. Dallas Keuchel of the Houston Astros. Those were your 3 American League candidates. Looking at the numbers, it was without question David Price or Keuchel of the Astros. When I took the names off the paper and looked at the numbers, there was no question it was Keuchel of the Houston Astros, and he did in fact win the AL Cy Young. David Price did finish in second place. Then over to the National League. This one was really, really close. The 3 candidates there were Zack Greinke of the Los Angeles Dodgers, Clayton Kershaw of the Los Angeles Dodgers, and Jake Arrieta of the Chicago Cubs. So I had a tough time with this one. I felt like you could make the case for Arrieta. I felt like you could make the case for Greinke. And I felt like Kershaw had a great year, but just not quite Cy Young best pitcher in National League. So he was definitely my number 3 over there, but I had a hard time with Greinke and Arrieta. I think ultimately I would put Greinke. I would have cast my first place vote for Greinke. However, the baseball writers narrowly decided different. They had Jake Arrieta of the Chicago Cubs winning your National League Cy Young Award for the year 2015, with Zack Greinke finishing in second place. So congratulations to Jake Arrieta and Dallas Keuchel, this year's Cy Young Award winners. Pretty sure I had Greinke and Kershaw on the possible Cy Young winners list in my preseason picks. I'm sure I did the same thing for David Price. Probably didn't have Sonny Gray or Keuchel or Arrieta. I did have Chris Sale, who made top 5. He was 4th, I want to say, for the American League. But one of these dang days, I'm going to dig up my Ron Burgundy notebook, and I'm going to call out my picks, and I'm going to own up, hopefully next week. But I promise, I'm going to do it. If it still exists, if it's still in my house, I'm going to find it, and I'm going to own up. But so, ending the baseball discussion, we have tomorrow's final day of awards, and that will be for the MVP in the American and National League. And our 3 final candidates. Alright, now our MVP candidates are as follows. In the American League, we've got Lorenzo Cain of the world champion Kansas City Royals, Josh Donaldson of the Blue Jays, and Mike Trout of the Angels. Those are your finalists for the MVP award. 2 made the playoffs. 1 was really close to making. The third was really close to making the playoffs. So, if you're gonna give bonus points for team success, that definitely hurts Mike Trout in this situation. My personal prediction, not only prediction, but who I would pick if I had a vote, and this is a tough one, I would vote Josh Donaldson of the Blue Jays. Now, I'm a little Blue Jays biased, at least just this last season. But just, again, Mike Trout's team didn't make the playoffs, so how valuable could that guy have really been? And Lorenzo Cain for the Royals was just one of many studs on that team that led to their success. Hard to really just single out one guy as the most valuable out of that whole crew. So I go Donaldson, but Donaldson's surrounded by so many great players on his team with Dave the Bat Batista and, Juan Encarnacion and Troy Tulowitzki, and it's a freaking all-star squad too. So I don't know. Whoever wins it, I guess I'll be okay with on that one. Now over to the National League. This one, it is believed that it's pretty much a done deal. Your three candidates are Paul Goldschmidt of the the D-backs, excuse me. Joey Votto, that's just such a great Italian gangster. Hey, it's Joey Votto. Joey Votto, yeah. What are you looking at? You better not be looking at Joey Votto. But anyway, Joey Votto of the Reds is a finalist, and then Bryce Harper of the Nationals. He is a finalist. He will certainly win. He is by far the most deserving. Now, the interesting thing I wanted to point out here is, if you noticed when I said all of the MVP candidates' names and teams, American League and National League, all three candidates in the American League were either on a playoff team or a team that was really close to making the playoffs. National League, not one of those teams was even close to being a playoff team. The Nationals were in the first half of the season. That doesn't get you a whole lot in pro sports, though, usually. So in my opinion, there's a name missing from the National League list that should not only be on here, but arguably should win it. And that is Yoenis Cespedes for the New York Mets. When he got traded to the New York Mets, look what happened. Look what that did to the Mets season and to everyone else in the National League season, for that matter. The Mets became the best team in the National League once they got him. Their offense was non-existent before him, and it was lights out after arrival. So in my opinion, Yoenis Cespedes is your real National League MVP for this season, even though he is not one of the three finalists. However, given the three finalists I'm given, you have to take Bryce Harper. He's, definitely had the best season of those three. Also, just a tiny bit of baseball news here before we're done with baseball for the evening. Yes, the Twins, like I mentioned last week, they traded Aaron Hicks, outfielder, to the Yankees for their backup catcher. It appears as though we will keep Suzuki and that new catcher and rotate them in and out. Not sure if I like that move or not. If we get production out of the catcher position, then yes, I do like it. I am hopeful that it leads to Max Kepler, being our new right fielder or left fielder. If Rosario moves to right, that would be fine too. But I hope that Kepler is the guy that ends up being that third outfielder now, not somebody like Arcia or another old guy like a new Torrey Hunter, or throwing Plouffe out there, throwing Mauer out there, throwing Sano out there. I've heard all kinds of nonsense in regards to changing positions and lineups around for this Twins team. What I would like to see the Twins do now that they're getting that Yohung Park guy from Korea, as well as having Sano, and maybe not being able to get rid of Plouffe, having these two catchers. Let's do the impossible and the unthinkable, and let's trade Joe Mauer. It would be the best thing by far for our team from a competitive standpoint. Might not be the best thing for our team from a bottom line standpoint, and that's why it's not going to happen. And for the bottom line of the other team involved too. Like, geez, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But it's a lineup confusion, lineup talk, lineup debate with the Twins here in the off season, and until I don't know. We don't have time for hypotheticals in this week's show, but maybe we'll discuss it more in later weeks. I mentioned Torrey Hunter. He is retired officially. I forgot to mention it a week or two ago or whatever it was when he made it official. And then also it appears as though David Ortiz, Big Papi, he is no longer going to be a Boston Red Sox. Or would you say Red Sox? He's no longer going to be a Boston Red Sox. That just doesn't, I don't know. But anyway, he is going to be hitting the free agent market. I don't think he's retiring, unless nobody's interested in him. Then I'm sure he'll probably just go on his merry way right off into the sunset and retire. Probably get a cushy. Well, no, you can't understand him when he talks. So I don't know if he'll get an analyst gig or not. But anyway, the Boston Red Sox team and fan base bid happy trails to David Ortiz, one of the biggest stars, one of the all-time greats, legends, icons in Boston.